The next morning, the palace was alive with activity. Guards marched with precise steps. Servants hurried through the halls, and the council gathered to witness the trials that would determine the fate of the human named Kian. Princess Nira walked beside him, her eyes full of quiet encouragement. "You will do well," she whispered. "Remember, it is not just about strength, it is about cleverness, courage, and loyalty." Kian nodded. "I understand. I will do my best." The first trial took place in the palace courtyard, a vast area lined with towering statues of Zerathian heroes. The council had set up an obstacle course filled with challenges designed to test endurance, agility, and skill. The other participants were elite Zerathian soldiers, trained from birth for such trials. Kian was the only human. The first obstacle was a series of floating platforms suspended over a deep pit. Soldiers leaped from one platform to another, their movements precise and confident. Kian studied the distance between the platforms carefully. Timing was everything. He took a deep breath and jumped, moving steadily and deliberately. On one platform, it wobbled slightly, but he adjusted quickly, maintaining balance. By the time he reached the final platform, the audience murmured in surprise. He had succeeded. "Interesting," muttered one council member. "Perhaps humans are more capable than we thought." Next came a test of strategy. The participants were given a map of the palace grounds with a series of checkpoints they had to reach in order. The path was filled with hidden traps and obstacles. Kian examined the map, noticing details the others overlooked. He avoided traps that the soldiers almost walked into and found shortcuts that saved time. His mind worked differently, creative and adaptive. When he finished the challenge, the king's eyes narrowed in thought. "This human is not only brave but clever." Tarnik said quietly to the council. "He thinks in ways we do not. This could be useful." The third trial was a test of combat, though not against each other. Participants were asked to disarm mechanical drones designed to simulate enemy soldiers. The drones moved unpredictably, testing reflexes and intelligence. Kian approached carefully. He studied the drones' movements, predicting their paths, and using clever maneuvers to disable them without unnecessary force. He worked alongside the Zerathian soldiers, coordinating and adapting quickly. Nira watched with pride. She had known that humans could be resourceful, but seeing it in action was impressive. Kian was proving not only his strength, but also his ability to work with others, a quality essential for any ally. After the trials, the council gathered to discuss the results. Kian had completed every task, often with creativity and precision that amazed even the most experienced Zerathians. Murmurs of approval spread through the hall. One council member, an older general named Vero, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, I must admit, I doubted this human at first, but his skill, intelligence, and courage are undeniable. He has passed every test. Perhaps humans can be more than we imagined." King Tarnik remained silent for a moment, studying Kian carefully. The young human had faced every challenge, shown loyalty to Nira, and demonstrated courage under pressure. He was not weak. He was not untrustworthy. In fact, he had qualities that could strengthen Zerith itself. Finally, the king spoke. "Kian, you have proven yourself in ways few could imagine. Your courage, intelligence, and loyalty are clear. You are worthy of trust, not just my daughters, but my people's. Zerith welcomes you as an ally." Kian bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will do my best to honor your trust." The crowd erupted in applause. Soldiers, council members, and citizens all recognized the importance of the moment. A human, once seen as fragile and untrustworthy, had earned the respect of an alien king and his people. Nira stepped forward, taking Kian's hand. "I knew you could do it," she said with a smile. "You have shown everyone what I have always believed: humans are capable of great things." Kian smiled back. "And you have shown me that courage and determination are universal. We make a good team." The trials were not just about proving Kian's abilities, they were about changing hearts and minds. The people of Zerith had long believed that humans were weak and unworthy of trust. Now, they could see with their own eyes. that humans could be brave, clever, and loyal. Later that evening, the palace held a small celebration. Nira and Kian walked through the gardens, the soft glow of alien lanterns casting light on the paths. The air was filled with the scent of flowers, and the sounds of laughter and music drifted from the hallways. Today was incredible. Nira said, "I am proud of you, Kian. You have shown them all what humans can do." Kian laughed softly. "I'm proud of you too, Nira. You survived impossible odds and trusted me to help you." "That took courage too." Nira smiled, her eyes reflecting the glow of the lanterns. "Together, we are stronger. I have learned that sometimes the greatest strength is not in the body alone, but in the mind, the heart, and the bond we share." As the celebration continued, King Tarnak observed from a distance. He saw his daughter standing beside a human, both proud and confident. He saw the admiration and respect of his people. Slowly, he realized that the universe was changing, and perhaps it was time for Zirith to change with it. "This human," he murmured to himself, "he has proven that courage and loyalty are not limited by species. Perhaps our world will be stronger for it." Nira and Kian stood together on a balcony overlooking the city, the twin moons rising in the sky. The trials had shown the kingdom the value of trust and the strength that could come from unexpected allies. But their journey was far from over. The war was not yet ended, and dangers still lurked beyond the palace walls. For now, though, there was a moment of peace. Kian had proven his worth, and Nira had returned to her people. The bond between human and alien had been tested and strengthened, a symbol of hope for the future. And deep in their hearts, both knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The courage, intelligence, and loyalty that had carried them through the mountains and trials would continue to guide them toward victory, toward unity, and toward a future where different worlds could work together. The sun set behind the palace, casting golden light across the city. Zirith had survived war, witnessed courage, and begun to see that humans were not only capable but valuable allies. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, hope shone brighter than fear. Princess Nira and Kian looked at each other, knowing that the real tests were yet to come. But for now, they had proven something extraordinary, that bravery, loyalty, and trust could overcome fear, and that together, different worlds could achieve greatness. The morning sun rose over Zirith, its golden light glinting off the palace towers. For a brief moment, the city seemed peaceful. Citizens went about their daily routines. Guards patrolled the streets, and the palace hummed with activity. Princess Nira and Kian walked through the gardens, reviewing the plans for the kingdom's defense. Their recent trials had won trust, but they both knew that the war was far from over. Kian, Nira said, pointing to a map of the surrounding regions, "The enemy forces are regrouping. They are stronger than before, and they may attempt a surprise attack soon. We must be ready." Kian studied the map carefully. "We have a chance if we combine your people's strength with human strategies. They will not expect us to fight this way." Nira nodded. "Then we prepare. I will rally the troops, and you will help me coordinate with the scouts and the city defenses." As the day progressed, the palace became a hub of preparation. Soldiers sharpened their weapons, archers practiced their aim, and engineers worked to strengthen walls and barriers. Kian moved among them, offering suggestions that surprised even veteran Zeradian officers. He had studied the enemy's patterns during the previous battles and proposed strategies that used both intelligence and creativity, something Zeradians were not accustomed to relying on. By late afternoon, the first signs of the enemy appeared. On the horizon, dark shapes moved across the plains, advancing swiftly toward the city. Nira and Kian watched from the palace balcony, their eyes narrowing with determination. "They are coming sooner than expected," Nira said. "We need to act now." Kian pointed to the flanks. "We can use the terrain to our advantage. If we position the archers and the scouts here and here, we can slow their advance and control the battlefield." Nira nodded. "I will lead the vanguard. Kian, stay with the scouts and coordinate the defenses." The soldiers lined up along the walls, weapons ready. Hearts filled with both fear and determination, Nira led the charge from the front, her presence inspiring courage in the troops. Kian moved swiftly between units, giving instructions and adjusting positions as the enemy drew closer. The enemy forces reached the city outskirts just as the sun began to set. Shadows stretched across the plains, and a tense silence fell over the battlefield. Then, without warning, the first wave attacked. Dark, fast-moving creatures leapt toward the walls, their claws sharp and eyes glowing with malice. Nira raised her sword and led her soldiers in a powerful defense. Each swing, each strike, inspired those around her. Kian coordinated the archers and scouts, guiding them to vulnerable points in the enemy formation. Together, they worked as a single force, combining strength, strategy, and courage. Despite the odds, the defenders held their ground. Kian noticed a group of enemy creatures attempting to bypass the main defenses and flank the city. "Nira!" he shouted. "They are trying to get around us." Without hesitation, Nira rallied a group of elite soldiers and charged toward the flank. Kian followed with the scouts, moving silently through the shadows, cutting off the enemy's escape routes. The combined effort turned what could have been disaster into a strategic advantage. Hours passed, the battle raging under the fading light. Nira and Kian moved from point to point, ensuring no weak spot was left undefended. Kian used clever tricks, setting traps and leading some enemy groups into ambushes. Nira's courage and skill inspired the soldiers to fight beyond their limits. As night fell, the enemy forces began to retreat. The city of Zirith had held strong. Thanks to the leadership of the princess and the ingenuity of a human, soldiers cheered, though exhaustion weighed heavily on their bodies. Nira and Kian stood together, surveying the battlefield. "We did it," Nira said, her voice filled with relief. "But this is only the beginning. They will come again, stronger and more prepared." Kian nodded. "Then we will be ready. Today, we showed them that Zirith and humans together are a force to be reckoned with. We can defend this city, and maybe even win the war." The following days were spent repairing the damage and tending to the injured. Nira moved through the city, encouraging the citizens and soldiers, her presence a symbol of hope and resilience. Kian continued to provide guidance and support, earning respect and admiration from Zorathians who had once doubted humans. One evening, as the city rested, Nira and Kian stood atop the palace balcony, watching the twin moons rise in the sky. The stars shimmered above, quiet witnesses to the bravery that had unfolded below. "Kian," Nira said softly, "you have changed everything here. Not just for me, but for all of Zirith. People now see humans differently. They see that courage, intelligence, and loyalty are not limited to one species." Kian smiled. "I could not have done it without you, Nira. You led the people with bravery and wisdom. We did this together." Nira leaned slightly against him, feeling the weight of the past days, but also the strength that had carried them through. "Together, we are stronger, and together, we will face whatever comes next." In the palace, King Tarnak watched the horizon, the battle still fresh in his mind. He thought of his daughter, alive and leading his people, and of the human who had proved his worth. Slowly, a sense of pride and hope filled his heart. Zirith was not alone. They had found an ally from a distant world, someone who could bring new strength and perspective to their struggles. The enemy might return, fiercer and more determined, but Zirith was ready, with Princess Nira at the forefront and Kian by her side. The kingdom had demonstrated that courage and cooperation could overcome even the darkest threats. As the night deepened, Nira and Kian prepared for the next challenge, knowing that war was never truly over. But they had shown Zirith that strength came not only from might, but also from trust, ingenuity, and the bonds between allies. And in that quiet moment, with the moons shining above, the princess and the human felt the first true hope of peace. In many long, dark days, the battle had tested them, but it had also proven something far greater, that even against overwhelming odds, courage, strategy, and unity could protect not just a city, but the future of a world. The morning after the battle, Zirith was quiet. The city, though scarred from conflict, stood strong. Fires had been extinguished, walls repaired, and citizens were beginning to rebuild. Princess Nira walked through the streets, observing the work. People nodded and smiled as she passed, their trust and admiration for her renewed. She was alive, and she had led them through darkness. Kian walked beside her, carrying supplies for the injured and assisting where he could. He had become more than an ally. He was a symbol of hope for the people. Where once humans were unknown and doubted, now they were recognized as capable partners. Your leadership has inspired everyone, Kian said, glancing at Nira. Even the soldiers who doubted me now see that we can accomplish great things together. Nira smiled. It is not just me. It is all of us humans, Zerathians, working together. Today, we have shown that we can face anything if we stand united. The palace was busy as well. King Tarnik had summoned his council to discuss the future of the kingdom. The war was not completely over, but the enemy had been weakened. It was time to think beyond defense, to think of alliance, growth, and rebuilding. You have done well, my daughter, King Tarnik said, his voice filled with pride. Not just surviving the battle, but leading our people and trusting someone from a distant world. Kian, you have proven that courage and loyalty know no boundaries. Zirith owes you gratitude. Kian bowed respectfully. Thank you, Your Majesty. I only did what was right. Princess Nira's courage guided me, and her people welcomed me as a friend. Tarnak's eyes softened as he looked at both of them. Perhaps this is the start of a new era for Zirith, one where we learn from others, work together, and grow stronger not just through war, but through trust and cooperation. Nira stepped forward, her eyes shining with hope. Father, I believe humans can be allies in ways we never imagined. Together, we can rebuild our cities, strengthen our defenses, and explore the universe beyond Zirith. We can show that courage, intelligence, and unity are stronger than fear and isolation. The council listened carefully. Many were still cautious, but the results of the recent trials and the victory in battle had proven the truth of her words. Kian had earned their respect, and Nira's vision inspired them. Slowly, one by one, they began to nod in agreement. We will consider this new path, King Tarnik said. If we embrace trust and cooperation, Zirith can become stronger than ever before. We will honor the bravery shown in these days and prepare for a future that welcomes allies from other worlds. With the council's approval, Nira and Kian began planning the first steps toward rebuilding Zirith. They organized teams to repair damaged homes, restore water supplies, and provide medical care for the injured. Engineers and scouts worked alongside humans and Zerathians alike, sharing knowledge, skills, and ideas. In the following weeks, Zirith transformed. Walls were strengthened not just with stone, but with innovative human techniques that increased durability. Farms were restored, with new irrigation systems designed by Kian and his colleagues. Citizens who had been wary of humans now worked side by side with them, learning from each other and forming bonds that would last a lifetime. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the city, Nira and Kian stood together on the palace balcony. The air was filled with the sounds of rebuilding, hammering, laughter, and conversation. It was a symphony of hope. You have changed everything here, Nira said softly, her gaze sweeping across the city. Not just the people, but the way we think, the way we plan for the future. You have brought a new perspective, a new kind of courage. Kian smiled. And you have shown that leadership comes from more than strength alone. It comes from heart, wisdom, and the courage to trust. Together, we make a strong team. Nira laughed lightly. We do, don't we? Perhaps this is just the beginning. There are other worlds, other allies we can meet. Maybe humans and Zerathians can explore the stars together. Kian nodded, excitement shining in his eyes. Yes, the universe is vast, and we have so much to learn from each other. This is just the start of a journey that could change everything. Back inside the palace, King Tarnik watched from his chamber. He thought of the battle, the trials, and the journey his daughter had taken with Kian. He felt pride in Nira's courage and gratitude for the human who had proven himself. For the first time in many long years, He allowed himself to dream not of war, but of a future filled with hope, friendship, and discovery. As days turned into weeks, Zirith flourished, the scars of battle faded, replaced by buildings stronger than before, gardens more vibrant, and streets filled with life. Citizens shared stories of the princess and the human who had changed their world. Children played alongside Kian, learning new skills and imagining the adventures they could have beyond their planet. Nira often walked through the city, listening to the people, encouraging them, and planning new ways to make life better. Kian remained by her side, a steady presence of support and innovation. Together, they had not only defended Zirith, but had shown that unity between different worlds could lead to strength and progress. One evening, as the twin moons shone brightly, Nira and Kian stood at the highest tower of the palace. Below, the city glowed with lights of recovery and hope. Nira took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past and the promise of the future. Kian, she said softly, "We have done more than survive. We have changed our world. And I believe this is just the beginning of something greater." Kian placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "Yes, Nira. Together, we have proven that courage, trust, and loyalty can overcome fear and doubt. Zirith is stronger now, and the future is wide open." In that moment, the two looked at the stars above, imagining the possibilities beyond Zirith. Allies from other worlds, new adventures, and the chance to explore the universe together. The journey that began with survival had grown into a vision of hope, unity, and endless opportunity. King Tarnik joined them on the balcony, standing beside his daughter and the human who had proven himself. "You have made Zirith proud," he said, his voice filled with warmth. "And perhaps, more importantly, you have reminded us that courage, friendship, and trust are stronger than any enemy. Let this be the start of a new era for our people." Nira smiled, her hand brushing against Kian's. "A new era," she said softly, "for Zirith, and for everyone who is willing to stand together." As the twin moons cast silver light over the palace and city, the people of Zirith rested with renewed hope. The princess was alive, the kingdom was safe, and a human had proven that courage and loyalty were universal. Together, they had built more than just walls. They had built a future where different worlds could trust, learn, and grow together. And so, a new chapter began for Zirith, one of peace, unity, and endless possibilities. The princess and the human had survived battles, earned trust, and shown that even the most unlikely alliances could change the fate of a world. The stars above shone brightly, as if celebrating the courage, hope, and friendship that now guided Zirith into a new era. Rin adjusted his helmet as the icy wind swept across the frozen plains of Aurelia. The planet stretched endlessly in shades of blue and silver, like a giant crystal frozen in time. His small exploration ship had landed safely, but even from the landing site, he could see the strange shapes of the ice forests rising in the distance. He shivered, though not from cold alone. There was something strange, almost magical, about this place. He had come to Aurelia searching for rare minerals, but the planet seemed to have more secrets than he had imagined. Snow crunched under his boots as he walked cautiously through the ice-covered ground. The wind whispered through the frozen trees, making them creak as if the planet itself was alive and watching him. Rin's heart beat faster with excitement. He loved discovering new worlds, but this one felt different, almost alive. As he wandered deeper into the forest, he noticed something unusual. In the distance, near a frozen river that reflected the pale light of the twin moons, a figure moved gracefully among the icy trees. Rin squinted, his eyes widening in surprise. It was not an animal or a shadow. It was a humanoid figure, tall and elegant, with shimmering blue skin that reflected the light like glass. The figure froze completely when it saw him. Rin stopped in his tracks, careful not to make any sudden movements. His breath formed small clouds in the cold air, and he realized the alien was staring at him with wide, astonished eyes. There was something in that gaze that made Rin pause, something he could not understand. "Hello?" Rin called softly, unsure if the alien could understand him. The figure did not move, only stared. Rin took another careful step forward, raising his hand slightly to show he meant no harm. I'm Rin. I come in peace. The alien's eyes flickered. And then she spoke in a soft, melodic voice. You are real. Her words were halting, as if she struggled to understand what she was seeing. Rin tilted his head. Curious. I am real. Are you okay? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she continued to stare at him as if trying to remember something from a long time ago. Then she spoke again, more clearly this time. I have seen you in the visions. Rin frowned. Visions? He asked. He had heard stories of alien prophecies before, but he never thought he would be part of one. The figure nodded slowly. Yes, my people have legends. They speak of a human who would come to Varelia, someone who would change everything. I never thought it would be you. Rin's curiosity grew, mixed with a hint of nervousness. Why me? I'm just an explorer. I didn't come here to change anything. The alien, whose name Rin would soon learn was Nira, seemed unsure how to explain. It is not about what you intended. It is about who you are. Your presence, it awakens something here, something we have waited for. Rin looked around at the frozen forest. Everything seemed ordinary, trees made of ice, snow-covered ground, the glimmer of the frozen river, but somehow it felt different now. The air felt charged, almost alive. He could feel a strange warmth despite the freezing temperature, a sense that his arrival had indeed stirred something unseen. Slowly, Rin took another step forward. Nira didn't move, but her eyes softened slightly. Do not be afraid, Rin said gently. I am not here to harm you. After a moment, Nira relaxed, though only slightly. Her movements became fluid again, but cautious. She took a step closer to Rin, her eyes still wide with wonder. You are exactly as the vision said, she whispered. Tall, strong, with eyes that see beyond the surface. You carry something ancient. Rin felt a shiver run down his spine. Ancient? What do you mean? Nira shook her head. I do not know all the details yet, but I know that when I saw you, I froze. My heart, it recognized you, as if I had waited for this moment for a long time. Rin looked at her closely. She was beautiful in a way he had never seen before. Her blue skin sparkled in the pale moonlight, and her hair, long and silver, shimmered like the frozen river. There was a grace in her movements. Even in her hesitation, he realized that her fear was not of him, it was something deeper, something connected to her own past and her people's history. Can you show me where you live? Rin asked cautiously. Maybe we can talk more there. Nira studied him for a long moment. Then, almost reluctantly, she nodded. Follow me, she said softly. She moved ahead, gliding over the ice with a grace that made Rin's human steps seem clumsy. He followed carefully, careful not to slip, as the forest around them seemed to grow quieter, as if the trees themselves were giving them space. As they walked, Nira finally spoke again. My name is Nira. I am a princess of my people, but I am not like the others. I see things differently. The visions, they showed me you would come. Rin was stunned. A princess? And I'm supposed to change something here. Nira nodded slowly. Perhaps. I do not know how yet. But I know that your presence has already made a difference. The ice, the wind, it all reacts to you. You carry a part of our history with you, though you do not know it. Rin could hardly believe it. He had come to Varelia looking for minerals, not to be part of alien legends. Yet, as he looked at Nira and the shimmering ice around them, he realized that he was standing on the edge of something much bigger than he had ever imagined. The frozen river widened, revealing a path of ice that led to a distant palace carved directly from the mountain. Nira stopped at the edge and turned to Rin. This is my home, but it is not safe for outsiders, especially not now. You must promise to be careful. I promise. Rin said, I just want to understand everything. Nira studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Very well. Come. But know this: once you step into the palace, your journey here will change forever. There is no turning back. Rin took a deep breath. The icy wind bit at his face, but he felt a strange warmth in his chest for the first time in his life. He felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. With cautious steps, he followed, nearer toward the shimmering palace, unaware that the moment he had frozen the princess had been long foretold, and that the adventure of a lifetime was just beginning. Ren adjusted his helmet as the icy wind swept across the frozen plains of Aurelia. The planet stretched endlessly in shades of blue and silver, like a giant crystal frozen in time. His small exploration ship had landed safely, but even from the landing site, he could see the strange shapes of the ice forests rising in the distance. He shivered, though not from cold alone. There was something strange, almost magical, about this place. He had come to Aurelia searching for rare minerals, but the planet seemed to have more secrets than he had imagined. Snow crunched under his boots as he walked cautiously through the ice-covered ground. The wind whispered through the frozen trees, making them creak as if the planet itself was alive and watching him. Ren's heart beat faster with excitement. He loved discovering new worlds, but this one felt different, almost alive. As he wandered deeper into the forest, he noticed something unusual. In the distance, near a frozen river that reflected the pale light of the twin moons, a figure moved gracefully among the icy trees. Ren squinted, his eyes widening in surprise. It was not an animal or a shadow. It was a humanoid figure, tall and elegant, with shimmering blue skin that reflected the light like glass. The figure froze completely when it saw him. Ren stopped in his tracks, careful not to make any sudden movements. His breath formed small clouds in the cold air, and he realized the alien was staring at him with wide, astonished eyes. There was something in that gaze that made Ren pause, something he could not understand. "Hello?" Ren called softly, unsure if the alien could understand him. The figure did not move, only stared. Ren took another careful step forward, raising his hand slightly to show he meant no harm. "I'm Ren. I come in peace." The alien's eyes flickered, and then she spoke in a soft, melodic voice. You are real." Her words were halting, as if she struggled to understand what she was seeing. Ren tilted his head. "Curious. I am real. Are you okay?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she continued to stare at him as if trying to remember something from a long time ago. Then she spoke again, more clearly this time. "I have seen you in the visions." Ren frowned. "Visions?" he asked. He had heard stories of alien prophecies before, but he never thought he would be part of one. The figure nodded slowly. "Yes, my people have legends. They speak of a human who would come to Aurelia, someone who would change everything. I never thought it would be you." Ren's curiosity grew, mixed with a hint of nervousness. "Why me? I'm just an explorer. I didn't come here to change anything." The alien, whose name Ren would soon learn was Nira, seemed unsure how to explain. "It is not about what you intended. It is about who you are. Your presence, it awakened something here, something we have waited for." Ren looked around at the frozen forest. Everything seemed ordinary: trees made of ice, snow-covered ground, the glimmer of the frozen river, but somehow it felt different now. The air felt charged, almost alive. He could feel a strange warmth despite the freezing temperature, a sense that his arrival had indeed stirred something unseen. Slowly, Ren took another step forward. Nira didn't move, but her eyes softened slightly. "Do not be afraid," Ren said gently. "I am not here to harm you." After a moment, Nira relaxed, though only slightly. Her movements became fluid again, but cautious. She took a step closer to Ren, her eyes still wide with wonder. "You are exactly as the vision said," she whispered. "Tall, strong, with eyes that see beyond the surface. You carry something ancient." Ren felt a shiver run down his spine. "Ancient? What do you mean?" Nira shook her head. "I do not know all the details yet, but I know that when I saw you, I froze. My heart, it recognized you, as if I had waited for this moment for a long time." Ren looked at her closely. She was beautiful in a way he had never seen before. Her blue skin sparkled in the pale moonlight, and her hair, long and silver, shimmered like the frozen river. There was a grace in her movements. Even in her hesitation, he realized that her fear was not of him, it was something deeper. something connected to her own past and her people's history. Can you show me where you live? Rin asked cautiously. Maybe we can talk more there. Nira studied him for a long moment. Then, almost reluctantly, she nodded. Follow me, she said softly. She moved ahead, gliding over the ice with a grace that made Rin's human steps seem clumsy. He followed carefully, careful not to slip, as the forest around them seemed to grow quieter, as if the trees themselves were giving them space. As they walked, Nira finally spoke again. My name is Nira. I am a princess of my people, but I am not like the others. I see things differently. The visions. They showed me you would come. Rin was stunned. A princess? And I'm supposed to change something here. Nira nodded slowly. Perhaps. I do not know how yet. But I know that your presence has already made a difference. The ice, the wind, it all reacts to you. You carry a part of our history with you, though you do not know it. Rin could hardly believe it. He had come to Varelia looking for minerals, not to be part of alien legends. Yet, as he looked at Nira and the shimmering ice around them, he realized that he was standing on the edge of something much bigger than he had ever imagined. The frozen river widened, revealing a path of ice that led to a distant palace carved directly from the mountain. Nira stopped at the edge and turned to Rin. This is my home, but it is not safe for outsiders, especially not now. You must promise to be careful. I promise. Rin said, I just want to understand everything. Nira studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Very well. Come. But know this: once you step into the palace, your journey here will change forever. There is no turning back. Rin took a deep breath. The icy wind bit at his face, but he felt a strange warmth in his chest. For the first time in his life, he felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. With cautious steps, he followed Nira toward the shimmering palace, unaware that the moment he had frozen the princess had been long foretold, and that the adventure of a lifetime was just beginning. Rin followed Nira along the icy path toward her palace. The walls of the palace gleamed like crystal under the twin moons, reflecting pale blue light that danced across the snow. Even from a distance, the structure seemed alive, as though it had grown from the mountain itself. Rin had never seen anything so beautiful. Each step he took echoed lightly, and the wind carried a strange hum, almost like a melody. Through the frozen corridors outside. As they walked, Nira spoke softly. My people have lived on this planet for thousands of years. We have always watched the stars, waiting for signs. The visions, they have shown me glimpses of you long before you arrived. Rin's eyebrows rose in surprise. Visions? How? Could anyone see me before I even came here? Nira shook her head. It is hard to explain. Some things are beyond understanding. My people have abilities to sense events across time and space, though not everyone can. I can see fragments, and the moment I saw you, I knew something had begun. Rin frowned. Something begun? Nira's eyes seemed to glow faintly as she glanced at him. Yes, something that has been waiting a long time. You are part of it, though I do not yet know how. That is why I froze when I first saw you. Your presence, it awakened something in me, in the planet, in everything around us. Rin swallowed hard. The words sounded strange, almost unbelievable, but he could feel the truth in them. The air seemed alive, carrying energy that made the snow sparkle more brightly. His own heartbeat quickened as he realized that this was no ordinary exploration. Somehow, he had arrived at a moment that had been set long ago. The path led them to a bridge of ice spanning a frozen chasm. The wind blew sharply here, making Rin shiver. Be careful, Nira warned. The ice is thin in some places. The wind is stronger than it seems. Rin nodded and stepped forward cautiously, watching Nira move ahead with effortless grace. He marveled at the way she seemed to glide over the ice, as though gravity itself obeyed her. He felt clumsy in comparison, but he kept moving, determined not to fall behind. When they reached the palace gates, Nira paused. The gates were made of a strange translucent material, glowing softly from within. Symbols were etched into the surface, swirling patterns that Rin could not decipher. These symbols tell the story of my people, Nira explained. They show where we came from and what we have protected for centuries. Rin looked closely. Protected? From what? Nira hesitated. From those who wish to take our power. For themselves. There are factions among my people who do not believe in peace. They would use our abilities for destruction. That is why your rival is important. You may be able to help prevent it. Rin took a deep breath. Realizing the weight of her words, me, how can I help? I'm just a human explorer. I don't have any powers like yours. Nira smiled faintly, though her eyes remained serious. You may not know it yet, but you carry a connection to my people. Humans and Nirelians, our ancestors were once allies. There's a bond that has lasted across generations. That bond is part of you, Rin. It is why I recognized you immediately. Rin's mind spun. A bond with an alien species? It sounded impossible. But when he looked at Nira, he felt a strange sense of familiarity. Her gaze was not just curious. It was almost welcoming, as if she had known him in another life. Nira pushed open the gates with a graceful motion. The interior of the palace was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting light that shimmered like diamonds across the marble floor. Walls of ice reflected images of distant planets and stars, as if the palace itself was connected to the universe. Rin's mouth fell open. This place, it's incredible, he whispered. Nira nodded. It is our home, but it is also a place of learning and protection. My people have recorded knowledge of the stars, of energy, of life itself. Some of it is beyond human understanding. But perhaps you can see things differently. Perhaps your perspective is what my people need. Rin walked slowly, taking it all in. The palace was quiet, yet it hummed with life. He could feel energy pulsing beneath the floors, through the walls, and even in the air itself. Every step seemed to connect him more to this strange, frozen world. As they walked through the halls, Nira explained more about her people. We have lived peacefully for centuries, but there have always been tensions. Some believe we should dominate other planets. Others, like me, believe in harmony and cooperation. The arrival of a human was always foretold in our visions, a human who could bring balance, who could show both sides the value of working together. Rin felt a shiver run through him. Could it really be him? He had come to Varelia for minerals, for adventure, not to fulfill a prophecy. Yet standing here, in the presence of Nira, he could not deny that something about him felt different. Something was beginning. Nira led him to a room filled with glowing orbs. Each orb contained a moving image, scenes from the past, stories of the Nirelians' ancestors, and glimpses of distant planets. These are our histories and visions, she said. Some are dreams, some are memories. All are guidance. Look closely, and you may see why you are here. Rin stepped forward, peering into the nearest orb. Images shifted and changed before his eyes. He saw humans and Nirelians working together long ago, building cities, exploring planets, and protecting energy sources that could have destroyed worlds if misused. He saw battles fought not with weapons, but with courage and intelligence. And then, in the center of one vision, he saw a human who looked just like him, standing beside a Nirelian princess facing a great threat, united in purpose. His breath caught. That's me, he whispered. Nira nodded. Yes, that is why I froze when I first saw you. The vision showed me this moment. But seeing it in reality, it is more powerful than I imagined. You carry hope, Rin. Not just for my people, but for this planet, and perhaps others as well. Rin felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. He had never been part of something so big, so important. Yet at the same time, he felt a sense of destiny, as if he had always been meant to stand here, beside Nira, and face whatever came next. Nira's hand hovered near his. Though she did not touch him, rest now, she said softly. The journey has only begun, and there will be challenges. But know this, you are not alone. My people and I will help you understand your purpose. Rin nodded, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with the icy air. For the first time, he understood that Varelia was not just a planet of ice and minerals. It was a place of destiny, of history, and of awakening. And somehow, he was now a part of it. as the twin moons cast their light across the palace. Rin realized that his life had changed forever. The visions, the prophecy, the strange recognition in Nira's eyes, all of it meant that he had come to Varelia for a reason, far greater than he had ever imagined. And so, standing in the shimmering light of the alien palace, Rin felt a strange sense of calm. The adventure, the danger, and the mysteries of Varelia awaited him. But with Nira at his side, he knew he was ready to face whatever came next. The next morning, Rin awoke to the soft glow of light passing through the crystalline walls of Nira's palace. He rubbed his eyes and looked around. Still amazed at the beauty and strangeness of the place, every surface seemed to shimmer with life, and the air itself felt alive, humming gently as if the palace had a heartbeat. Nira was already waiting for him outside the chamber, her blue skin glinting softly in the light. She smiled faintly. "Good morning, Rin. Today, I will show you more of the palace, and perhaps more of the history of my people." Rin nodded, excitement mixing with a sense of caution. "I'd like that. I want to understand everything, why I'm here, and what my connection to your people really means." Nira led him through long, winding corridors. The walls were lined with glowing symbols, each one moving subtly as though telling a story. Rin reached out, tracing the patterns with his fingers, and felt a faint warmth. "These symbols, they feel alive," he said in awe. Nira nodded. "They are. Each symbol represents knowledge, memory, or energy. My people can read them naturally. But for a human, it takes time. Still, your presence allows you to sense some of it already. That is why I knew you would come." They walked deeper into the palace, passing chambers filled with crystal orbs, frozen gardens, and corridors that seemed to twist in impossible directions. Rin noticed strange wildlife, small creatures that glided silently across the floors, their bodies glowing faintly. Some resembled birds, others more like tiny dragons, but all moved with elegance. Finally, Nira stopped before a massive door carved directly into the mountain's ice. The door was taller than Rin and covered with swirling patterns that pulsed faintly. "This is the Forbidden Wing," Nira said. "Only royalty and trusted visitors may enter. There are records here of visions, history, and events that many would wish to hide." Rin hesitated. "Forbidden? Why would anyone hide their history?" Nira sighed softly. "Not everyone among my people agrees with peace. Some seek power above all else. This wing contains knowledge that could be dangerous in the wrong hands. But I believe you are here to learn, and perhaps to help prevent what they seek." She touched the door, and it swung open silently, revealing a massive chamber. Inside, crystal floors reflected thousands of tiny lights, and walls were lined with orbs containing moving images. Rin felt a shiver of awe. The chamber was immense, and yet it felt strangely familiar. "These orbs," Rin said, stepping closer, "they show history?" Nira nodded. "Yes, some orbs show the past. Some show possibilities. Watch carefully, and you may see why you are important." Rin approached one of the larger orbs and saw images shifting before his eyes. He saw humans and Nyrelians working together long ago, building cities of crystal and energy. He saw both species exploring planets, learning, and protecting resources that could destroy worlds if misused. The images moved fast, showing battles of intellect and courage rather than weapon strategies, teamwork, and bravery. Then the orb shifted. Rin's breath caught. He saw a human who looked exactly like him, standing beside an Aurelian princess, facing a group of shadowy figures. Together, they created shields of light, manipulating energy that reshaped the terrain. Rin felt a strange pull in his chest. He had seen this in Nira's visions before, but now he understood. It wasn't just a story, it was part of his destiny. Nira's voice echoed softly. "Do you see now? This is why I froze when I first saw you. Your presence is connected to powers long forgotten. You carry something that can awaken hope and balance among my people." Rin stepped back, overwhelmed. I don't understand it fully. How can I do anything like that? I'm just a human. I don't have your abilities." Nira smiled faintly. "Perhaps not yet. But humans have something else: intuition, creativity, courage. These qualities allow you to see solutions that my people may overlook. That is why the visions chose you. That is why you are here." Before Ren could respond, a sudden alarm echoed through the palace. Red lights flashed across the walls, and the crystal orbs trembled. Nira's expression changed from calm to alert. "We are not alone," she said sharply. "Some of the others have discovered your presence." Ren's heart raced. "The others? The ones who oppose me," Nira said. "There are factions among my people who do not want change. They see you as a threat. They fear what the visions foretold." Before Ren could react, the palace doors shook violently. Shadows moved along the walls, figures racing through the corridors with speed and precision. Nira grabbed his arm. "We must move quickly," she said. "I know secret passages that can take us to safety. Follow me exactly." They ran through twisting corridors, slipping over ice-covered floors. Ren marveled at Nira's grace and agility. She moved as if the palace itself responded to her presence, gliding effortlessly over surfaces that would have made a human fall. Ren followed as best as he could, using every bit of skill he had learned as an explorer. Finally, they reached a hidden doorway behind a frozen tapestry. Nira pressed her hand against a symbol, and the door slid open silently, revealing a narrow staircase leading downward. "This way," she whispered. They descended into a cavern deep beneath the palace. The walls glowed faintly, revealing ancient carvings that Ren had never seen before. "This is one of the oldest parts of the palace," Nira explained. "Few have entered here. It holds knowledge and secrets even the factions fear to uncover." Ren caught his breath, looking around. The energy in the cavern was palpable. He could feel it in his chest, as if the planet itself was alive and responding to his presence. He realized that Nira had been right. Something about him was awakening forces long dormant. Nira turned to him, her expression serious. "You see, Ren, this is not just about exploration. It is about awakening, about helping my people remember who they are and what they can achieve when we work together. That is why you were chosen. That is why you are here." Ren nodded slowly, determination growing in his chest. "I don't fully understand it yet, but I want to help. I want to do whatever I can." Nira smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and pride in her eyes. "Good. Then we must be careful. The factions will not stop easily, but together we can begin to change things. Your rival has already begun to shift the balance." This is only the first step. As Ren looked around the ancient cavern, he realized that his life had changed forever. He had come to Varelia searching for minerals and adventure, but now he understood that his journey was far greater than that. He was part of something much larger, a story of history, destiny, and hope. The rogue faction was out there, moving quickly, but Ren knew he was ready, with Nira by his side. He felt a courage he had never known before. He understood that the palace, the visions, and the planet itself had chosen him for a reason, and no matter what challenges lay ahead, he was determined to face them. The cavern glowed softly as the twin moons cast light through cracks in the ice above. Ren took a deep breath and looked at Nira. "What's our next step?" he asked. Nira's eyes glimmered with determination. "We prepare, we learn, and we protect my people. The journey is just beginning, Ren, and soon, the reason you froze. The moment we first met will become clear to everyone." With that, Ren felt a surge of purpose. He had arrived at Varelia by chance or perhaps by destiny, and now, in the heart of the Forbidden Palace, he was ready to face whatever the future held.